And if you're not familiar with him, this might be a bit of a shock for you because some of the things that he's found should be known in the entire world of Christianity. Some of the things that he's found have been verified by multiple witnesses, yet they're not talked about. I think the reason they're not discussed in the Christian circle and in Christian churches is number one, we live in a leery and dead church age. It's lukewarm. It doesn't care about the Bible or God. Number two, I think one of the issues is that he is a Seventh-day Adventist, and that scares people away from bringing him up. That scares away pastors and teachers from even mentioning his name because he's a Seventh-day Adventist. Now, I don't give a rip if he's a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm going to look at what he actually found, and I'm going to look at if he actually found it or not. Biblical reference and discovery. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. The first discovery we can investigate is the location of Gomorrah. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain. And beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. Ron Wyatt claimed to rediscover the ruins of ancient Gomorrah, actual place where God rained down fire from the sky. And to begin showing you the evidence of this, I want to introduce you to Lowton from KJV Pictures, who has actually been to the place where Ron Wyatt claimed was Gomorrah. Lowton's testimony. Hey everyone, Lowton here from KJV Pictures. Super excited to make this video because when Brother Brandon told me he was making this study, I had a few things to add. You see, Ron Wyatt's videos were some of the first videos I saw as a newborn Christian. And having family in Israel myself, I decided to go check out some of his findings firsthand. One finding in particular, because if true, for me, it would be sort of a smoking gun discovery, and that was the location of Sodom and Gomorrah. Ron had claimed to discover this location in, I believe, 1990. And his discoveries were quite shocking: architecture, brimstone, sulfur balls, the whole 9 yards. But no one in the Christian community seemed to ever talk about it. I don't know, I had to check it out for myself. The journey to Gomorrah. So I went on his website and using only this map, I made my way to the supposed location of Gomorrah. As you can see, I wasn't working with a whole lot. The road we took to the Dead Sea spit us out right around here. And then we traveled up the coast until I eyed a piece of white ash-colored land where the map suggested Gomorrah would be. There was no parking lot or anything. No tourists or anyone for that matter, just a two-way road up and down the coast of the Dead Sea. So we pulled the car over and just started walking. The sight. Right away, a large ziggurat-type structure greeted us. Hey look, it's me. You can see from the picture that this is still the entrance of the city because you can still see desert plants. And we know from Deuteronomy that no grass or seed will ever take root there. Well, sure enough, as we entered the city, no grass or plants made their home there. You could see straight lines in the walls of the city where houses or other architecture used to be, and you could even see more ziggurat-type structures at major intersections. Although I didn't notice it firsthand on my trip since we only had about a few hours to explore, and you'd probably need about a few days from what I saw, but when I looked at this photo, I noticed in the background other symmetrical-type structures off in the distance. And nature just doesn't do that type of thing. Striking features. All the walls of the valleys were decorated with this swirl-like pattern. It was beautiful to look at, like heat had melted different layers of rock and stone together. But beautiful as it was just dust and ash to the touch. All these structures and ash and remains were great and all, but I still didn't have that smoking gun evidence that I wanted. I needed more evidence. I needed to find the sulfur balls that Ron claimed to be scattered all about. That would be my smoking gun. Only then would I be convinced that this was, in fact, the remains of that sinful city that God poured his judgment on thousands of years ago. Sulfur balls. Sure enough, I found more than a dozen small balls of sulfur scattered about. This is what's left of my personal collection today. I've burned some to show friends and family, and the smell is, well, horrifying. I can only imagine what it must have been like when these balls in their pure form came raining down from heaven on those lost cities. Yet if you ask me, I'd say Ron found it. But ultimately, it's up to you if you want to believe him or not. But I think the real question is, do his discoveries contradict Scripture? Because if they contradict Scripture, it doesn't matter what I believe. Doesn't matter what you believe. But if they don't? Well, for that I'll turn the study back over to Brother Brandon. Scientific perspective. Formations such as ancient houses, gates, temples, statues can still be spotted in the area. As opposed to regular sulfur, this pale white form of sulfur can only be found in the ruins of Sodom and Gomorrah. It cannot be found in any volcanic area or any mineral museum, supporting the Genesis account. Geothermal activity has never been recorded in the region, so these brimstones could not have come from a volcanic eruption. Just one touch, I didn't even see the sulfur on my finger. Look at this blister. It was so hot it was indescribable. Final thoughts. This is absolutely staggering. We've traveled the Holy Land. These are the believed sites of Sodom and Gomorrah. There is some discrepancy as to where they might be, but the evidence is so overwhelming that right here, this is where Sodom and Gomorrah is. Have been absolutely impacted and impressed by this. It's just, right now I just feel just a sense of awe over me right now as we are here. And they have discovered in these areas of brimstone, and they're like balls, and this brimstone is totally different than any other place on the planet. Most other brimstone, and I should mention brimstone is synonymous with sulfur. So brimstone is kind of the old word for sulfur. So we have found sulfur balls all over in these city areas here, and it's unlike any other sulfur on the planet. As I mentioned, they're white and they are about 90 to almost 100% pure. This brimstone is made of monazite white sulfur that has been burned or cooked at a high temperature. It is quite different from natural sulfur that is formed in geothermal areas.